Good evening, free enterprise fans, and welcome to another exciting Omnidextrous Memers Guild tournament race. Tonight we have race two between Engidave and Pyre. Dave having taken the first one, looking to wrap things up for this. My name is Vitasia. I'm joined on the mic with Deathlike. How are we doing tonight, Death?
Doing well. I'm just excited for more action. I don't know. I'm not even sure what the objectives are, except outside of the ones that we know we're gonna have to see, or at least most likely we'll want to see, like for Bull Gauntlet and Lower Babel. But yeah, that's a. But I can't I can't forget. I can't. I can always be more excited for the Omnidextrous because who doesn't love having wielding all the weapons in the game?
Absolutely. The ambidextrous flag, of course, started off as kind of a joke flag as part of the April Fool's wacky series of flags within the free enterprise community. And this is the first time that it's been showcased in a tournament and really has changed free enterprise up on its head. It's really changed a lot of the calculus going on. Obviously, there's other things at play in this particular flag set, but Omni Dexterous really is the key to it all. So, um, but we've been having this has been a fantastic tournament. We're in the round of 16 right now. Inge Dave, coming off of a really just a fantastic spring season tournament for his performance as well. Now looking to continue that performance, and Pyre uh, was absolutely one of the top performers in the asyncs leading up to the tournament, on the ropes here a little bit.
Yeah, we're gonna be probably zooming a little bit. No, I'm not gonna get a jet seed, but you never know. It could also be a long enduring seed where all the things are gated on the moon, and we'll be hoping that Sylph's Cave or the LST has all the key items you're asking for. And though the likelihood of that is still low, but I I'd never leave it. I would never leave it up to the randomizer to ensure that the the key items that you're really looking for are deep within Bimmy and Jimmy. Because who doesn't want to play Double Dragon? Wait, this is free enterprise.
I will say with 100% certainty, no, I mean, having raced against Dave and been his partner in both Tango and in the previous tournaments, if he gets a Dragon Whip or a Dragoon Lance or anything that is dragon killing equipment to the moon directly with him, he will absolutely take on that Bimmy and Jimmy and the behemoth chests, and absolutely he is not afraid to do that. But frankly speaking, Pyre's right up there. So it's really going to be a fantastic race. The objectives are static between every tournament race, so it's always going to be the same objectives, which has led to some interesting routing decisions. For example, doing the top of tower. As soon as you get to the underground, tower is just kind of an immediate go-to check for a lot of folks. But you never know with this tournament. You do have some routing variants, and that decision, as you mentioned earlier, whether or not to go to the moon and when to go to the moon can really be a key one. So really looking forward to seeing how these two play it. Pyre does need to have a win to survive if Engidave wins. Engidave will be moving on to the round of 8.
Yeah, I think when you're behind in the count, you still probably want to do the same thing, so the things that you're comfortable with, maybe with some variants. Like there are times where you just go completely opposite of what your opponent does, and that itself is a gamble. I feel that you kind of want to at some point in the race you will make a racer will make a critical decision that will easily deviate from the opponent, and that itself will be enough. You don't have to kind of like gamble, like just do everything that your opponent's not gonna do. Just kind of pick the point of when you do it, and it probably would be kind of mid to late game when you just make those decisions. Early on, it might not make a difference because oftentimes you're going to do a lot of the same things that when early on when it boils down to, and runners will kind of do each other's things, and that will be time kind of made up. And now obviously routing will save you some time and eat you sometimes. So sometimes you may want to defer something to later, and sometimes you might want to do it immediately. It's at its core, you just have to just see what happens when it happens.
Oh, absolutely. And with that, we do see that we have a Rosa start for both of our runners with an edge right out of the gate. It looks like we have a Ruby is going to be our first one with a pink tail to start. So this does make for an interesting early route. Edge is one of the few characters that you can immediately go into Castle Evelyn. Depending on the gear you find, you can immediately start opening those trap chests. You are less incentivized to do so with the Rosa. You're not going to get that exit spell right away, but Edge does make things a little bit tempting, doesn't it?
Yeah. Edge, in any scene, and just besides Omnidextrous, you just when you see an Edge, eyes light up, and you can pretty much rule the overworld with whoever your starting character happens to be. So at that point, you're not really worried about most monsters. You just have to make sure he just gets the weapons to swing with, and you're good. Obviously, it helps a bit if you have some hourglasses, which I believe the starting kit will provide. So all you're really looking for is just something to swing with. And right now, I'm not finding anything worthwhile, but this is the prime place where picking up all the good gear starts and ends with. So this is definitely the beginning, and I think but unfortunately, the limiting of ungated treasure chests, none with monsters trapped in them, they'll be limited to tier 5. But tier 5 is still pretty good for all intents and purposes.
We had a couple pieces of samurai armor, which is certainly enough. There's a tiara, which is going to be fantastic. Certainly helps with Edge's ability. And a rune spear and an ice brand. We're good. Let's do this. Let's do the thing. I'm all about it. It is worth noting that neither runner actually opted to save prior to doing this. And it does look like both of them are actually going to go ahead and full clear Evelyn out before they open any trap chests. I like that approach. It is certainly the safer approach because you want to get the full clears out to make sure that everyone gets that good experience. Just an interesting decision here. They're both playing it a little bit safe, but there's also an ogre axe as well in addition to some crystal gear. So honestly, just fantastic things all around here for our runners in terms of blitz whip, ice brands, ogre axes. It's just fantastic.
So the glitching has started. So you see Engidave doing is putting a dwarf axe on Edge, trying to get the back row glitch enabled. So because even if you dual wield, you still need to put it on the right hand. You need to put it might work on the left hand, but I think with Edge, I don't think it doesn't work quite right on the left hand. So when you're glitching, put the back row compatible weapon on the right hand to guarantee it's set. Otherwise, you'll be wondering why your damage isn't the way it is.
The other thing that's worth pointing out here, okay, we do have a Baron key right out of the gate in this Mad Ogre chest. Dave is doing a couple of life glitch. The other thing worth noting is Dave put his Edge in the middle slot. He is choosing to fast anchor here as opposed to a slow anchor, which does change things up a little bit. It does mean that he's going to be able to get through the fights a little bit faster in this overworld. We'll see if he can play catch up. The straight line race between these two, the reason why it looks like Pyre is at least a little bit of ahead is because Dave bonked. He had an airship bonk where he didn't land quite right. But he is opting to say, no, we're going to go straight to Baron with that Baron key. He thinks he's going to have to come back a little bit later anyway, so might as well. Meanwhile, Pyre is going to continue to loot out, try to do all of Evelyn Castle kind of in one shot. Really interesting. Meanwhile, Dave says, hey, how about I get some characters before I open these other chests? It's a different dichotomy of approaches here. I really do like it.
I think in terms of routing, Engidave it's super convenient for Dave, because if you need the XP for other characters that are coming through party like Kain, that XP, and you probably just need to loot out for, make sure you have all your key items that may or may not be in the trap treasure chest be worthwhile. So but also we since this is the elements fight at the first spot of the Baron Inn, that means we know Leg is at Baron, so we have the Baron key, so that will be a trip, since we also have an Ice Brand. So yeah, we're pretty much ready to take on Baron right after.
Meanwhile, so Dave is going to get a strength ring, but more importantly, picking up that Kain. And we did get 2 Ice Brands in addition to the Ogre X. So Kain is going to be set up for success as well right away. I think we're going to go right into Baron. Meanwhile, Pyre is still taking out this final Evelyn trap chest in this Lamia fight. Did get a White Lance from the Stalemate Skull chest, and from this final treasure chest, going to show us it is Dragoon armor. So nice piece of gear, not something really. Oh, Earth Hammers are available for sale in the Baron shop. So if we want a nice piece of plus strength gear for the weapons, it's just sitting right there for us in the Baron shop.
I think shops are they're also kind of not as exciting as they normally are. I think they're on their S Pro, so they're not as exciting as we would normally see them. Usually, this is a gated shop, so they're 1 tier up. But S Pro makes every shop 1 tier less. This includes item shops, so they're not as exciting. But Pyre picking up a Dragon Whip as the key for Bedward. But hey, that's a very solid pickup, even if it's not a key item that we'll need for the seed.
Yeah, meanwhile, I love that Dragon Whip because, again, it does have some good stats on it. Meanwhile, getting Arcane equipped. Still no use for that Tiara. However, the Dragon Whip is nice. Pyre is going to show us making a little bit more efficient use of his early game time. However, Dave is diving in, doing outside of Sphere 0 checks at this point. So I like Dave's diving a little bit deeper into the seed, letting all the surface stuff go to Pyre, and conceding that and saying, we're going to dive a little bit deeper. But that is our hook.
That is, of a gamble, because I think this is like out of the way. You don't even have the Earth Crystal to, get this on the way. So this is that might be an edge that Pyre has right early. It's maybe not be like the overwhelming advantage, but this might be the last thing that Dave will be looking at the very least. So so right now Pyre is kind of in the driver's seat, but still has to do kind of get around and do some other things. So it's not cool. It's not. It's like it's not an immediate gimme that Pyre's going to run away with this. This is a lot of race to be covered here.
Yeah, I think knowing Dave and what I know about how Dave runs, I think he's absolutely going to be doing that relatively quick. Dave did also pick up some interesting gear. He picked up both a Poison Axe and a Power Staff from the chest right next to the Bygin spot. So really quite a lot of power available today for who he has. This Plague, though... Wow.
Yeah, this is not the best timing, but then again, when is Plague good timing? There's this kind of no such thing. So trying to take advantage of the fact that Plague cares that as long as everyone's counted, then it just kind of waits till you die. So killing a character off and then reviving him with lava, but that is a terrible timing because with Edge in the driver's seat speeding everything up, and that well, at least that's the safety save because you never know when you need it, and that at least bails him out for now. But that's just this time that Pyre's accumulating, at least getting the kind of time needed to buffer, just so that Engidave will eventually catch up to.
Yeah, that's Dave does not feel very good about that. You could see him trying to get his cane down. He's going to set up his party a little bit different. Meanwhile, Pyre gets his cane and is now set up reasonably well. We'll see how Pyre ends up handling it. That plague is nasty, though, so I can absolutely see Pyre possibly taking a wipe to it because you're absolutely confident. Dave's foregoing his power staff. No, Dave. But certainly, yeah. Let's put Rose someone a little bit slower in the middle.
Yeah, the majors are the slowest, so Rosa being in that spot is fine. This should help out against Plague as that the count counts down depending on how fast your anchor is, and since Edge with the anchor, it counts out even faster. So that's the deal. So I'm trying to remember if Pyre is where Edge is positioned, but yeah, that's if Pyre has the positioning correct, then that'd be fine. But right now, no, still thinking, but might actually be able to one shot because the white having the white spear equipped, so might be able to get away with it. It's still possible. That countdown is way too fast, but I think there's a lot of attack power to on Edge that should be able to wipe Plague. I mean, Kinazo's spot isn't that beefy, but you still have to make sure you get it right the first time, and that's time wasted or time consumed, depending on how that fight goes.
So Dave does get it down the second time and gets Kane back up in order to get that juicy experience. So that's a nice thing to see on Dave's side. Pyre now has Edge in the center slot. So unless there's an adjustment made on Pyre's side, I think Pyre's going to have a very similar issue. Meanwhile, everyone's favorite sweeper, the Quake Kid, Palom, shows up in Baron. So we have 4 characters right now, and we haven't even done Mount Hobbs yet. This is just a dream come true as far as the run goes.
I think Pyre set up Rosa pretty interestingly, and something I kind of learned the other day, a while ago, when you have 2 shields on a character, that there's a shield bonus for the evasion multiplier or the defense multiplier that comes up. It actually, you can have 2 shields and gain both the bonus on both shields. So that's how you make any character super tanky, is having more shield. But of course, you still need the armor to go with that. But shields, while kind of underrated and probably not the biggest thing to take advantage of, most times they're the extra defense, especially when you count characters to live, is very immense, especially when you fight a lot of the LST bosses.
Meanwhile, Pyre did not take a wipe there, so Pyre's certainly gaining some time advantage there. Dave is now getting everyone set up and ready to go in the Antlion Cave. We're happy to see Palom. Really, it's nice to see a buddy. In fact, I think we're going to be in kind of a better spot with Palom being able to get up to Quake because of those trap chests that Dave has not yet done. However, when it comes to time, Pyre's just been a lot more efficient in this early game. In fact, Pyre is also going back into Baron Castle. Going to be checking this Baron basement just on the off chance. We are looking for one boss fight here. So if this is it, and Dave has not checked this, Dave likely will not come back and check this. This could be significant for Pyre here.
Well, if this is Alt Gauntlet, then this is awesome. If it is not, no, it's ha ha ha. No, that's in this Flexit, there is really no reason to fight bosses outside of the required Fabul Gauntlet. So, outside of peeking what those bosses are, you're not fighting them. They provide no key items, so they have no value unless they're exactly the full Fabul Gauntlet. So that unfortunately didn't pay off, but it is what it is, and no interest for dupes, and don't even want any don't even want to see what that boss is, because it doesn't even matter.
No. And Dave is now coming over here to do the Fabul Gauntlet. So Dave normally does like the Flame Jump chest pretty early, but he's been putting this off up to this point in time. Really interesting to see kind of an interesting routing divergence here. Doing other checks before doing the trap chest at this point. Meanwhile, Pyre is doing Mount Ordeals, which I think is an even more interesting check. Mount Ordeals is not terribly popular. A lot of runners actually avoid it unless there's a reason to go do it. And you don't necessarily need Cecil, and there's no Tella. So Mount Ordeals certainly is an interesting play in this tournament to see done this early.
I still would do Mount Ordeals, only for the fact that you have 3 opportunities for Fabul Gauntlet, and the key item, worst case scenario, would be would be Darkness Crystal. So I would never rule it out. It's just like it's a time sink, and there's a pretty high chance that fading it won't hurt you. But when that chance happens, I think in Pyre, not exactly in driver's seat. This is you might as well gamble to find out what's here. And hey, if all Gauntlet is here, that would be one other advantage. So still one more shot at it though.
Yep. Meantime, Engidave just gets another Earth Hammer from doing the Fabul Gauntlet. So we are, right now he can do Mount Ordeals, or he can do Trap Chests in Evelyn, or he can go over to Troya. Both of those other 2 locations are just kind of very close to where he's at. Pyre ends up showing us just a longsword, and that looked like guards, so that's not exactly...
No, that was Dr. Luge.
Oh, Luge? Okay. The glass, I couldn't see the reflection quite properly.
Well, it is a blur. It's fine. But it's not worth it. But it's information. Eventually, if the off chance something Dave's looking for, he might have to stumble to Mount Ordeal. So that's just not like it. It might be wasted time now. This is time kind of made back from maybe that plague mistake. So not the worst thing. Sometimes time you're gonna lose time. You're gonna gain time just on actions that you do. It's at least it's information for Pyre. So and I don't think it's a wasted. You have to peek. You might want, and you need to know. And if you don't know, that's fine. There's time you can pick up later, and better know now than better to forget you did it later.
All right. Meanwhile, Dave has opted to it's like, hey, it's time to go do the trap chest, where he's going to get a white lance and then I believe a piece of dragoon gear. So not going to get his answer here. So he will have to do kind of the last chance at this point, which is going to be Edward in the Flame Dog chest. So Dave is kind of last location, everything in the overworld. Meanwhile, Pyre, who's had the hook for quite a while, still clearing everything into the overworld. So any advantage that Pyre could have had from getting that early hook so far is dwindling away. Although Pyre now has full cleared everything, I think, except Antlion. Has not done Antlion or Mountain Hobbs. Would be interesting to see if Pyre is going to do those 2 checks here before diving the hook route.
I think Antlion, if you're going to do something, Antlion would be the thing. Hobbs is not as interesting, although I guess trying to at least do the boss check, and we'll probably reset out. It's a quick check anyway, so not a lot of time lost, but it's again, the equalizer. Runners are doing the same thing the others are, but the difference is Pyre has the key item that Engidave needs to, and right now it's between Engidave to decide Mount Ordeals versus the Zot check, just for the Flame Dog. So because that's what's going to be left. So it's I think I know the boss hunt is definitely time eater. So if you're doing I think that Dave would probably do the Zot check, because that's you have 2 chances at a key item, one of which has obviously hadn't checked Bedward, so would have 2 chances at the key item, so that would be easier to route in. and it looks like Engidave is going to do that.
No, and this is the only thing that Dave has left to do in the overworld, so it makes sense that this is his decision to do at this point in time. He's going to get the Dragon Whip, go, oh, wonderful item. By the way, I do think, and this is my predictor right now, I'm calling it now, chat. I want you to hold me on this. If we have an early Darkness Crystal from the underground, I think because of that Dragon Whip, Dave will go and make an early moon dive. Calling it now.
Yeah, I mean, there aren't that many options left, so it's but it's hard to do. It's kind of hard to do early moon dive without the Darkness Crystal. So right now at this point, it's got to be underground or something. It's got to be gated by the underground to something else. So it's chain as you will. So there's still plenty of key items to pick up, and that's just have to go through it. But there's also a possibility that Darkness will still show up on the way down, the hook route. So which we're talking about the Cave Eblin chest and the Tower Babel, from the overworld side, the 4 Mad Ogres. So those are two other places where a key item can be found. So those definitely be taken on the way. And for those locations, I think they're kind of really off to themselves. One near the save point and in the Cave Eblin, and the other one I think it's kind of on an island. So yeah, they're gonna be picked up. Really, they'll be the first things to pick up. I don't think there's gonna be much more looting, if anything.
Okay, so Pyre opts to go ahead and turn the pink tail in before diving and says, I want a good weapon, and is rewarded with that Avenger. I mean, I think that is a fantastic pickup, and it will really accelerate Pyre. Dave has about a 40-second or so, behind Pyre right now in terms of the straight line race. So we'll see if Dave ends up opting to pick up that Avenger as well, or if he's going immediately into the underworld. And it looks like Dave is immediately going. So he's nope. He made a liar out of me. Thanks, Dave. I appreciate you.
I mean, the Avenger, it's automated killing the Berserker's favorite weapon, and it doesn't take much to get a Berserker online with the Avenger. I mean, combining it with a Dragon Whip makes you Bimmy and Jimmy's bad nightmare. That's what it is. Avenger goes with a lot of things. It's not the strongest weapon, but it's top tier because of the auto Berserk. As you know, being always angry solves a lot of problems. At least, except for some fights, but most fights, that's all you're looking for. So Pyre's still looting, just hoping for some decent loot as Cave Eblin does have a decent loot tier list. So this is as long as it's on the way, it makes sense. If you're gonna go too far out of the way, it's probably not worth it.
In the meantime, we do see that getting everything sold and set up, doing all the equipment checks. Looks like Pyre is setting Palom up to be a bit of an anchor. Does give him the Dwarf Axe, which is of course -5 agility, putting that lowest agility person right in the middle while accelerating Edge with that Avenger sword before the Staleman Skull. Oh no, this is just double Staleman. My fault. Sorry.
Yeah, just let Edge worry about it. It's so easy, right? You have a trap chest, you have the weapon combination to defeat them quickly. I mean, that is pure automation. You didn't have to do anything to your controller or keyboard. It doesn't matter. It's so simple, right? It looks like dupe Palom with a Baigan fight shouldn't be too bad. You do have Quake Kid. I think there's enough XP. That'd be questionable. Having Quake available does help a lot in that fight, as you don't want a Zerk, an Avenger-bound Edge or Kane or whatever you pick with the Avenger hitting arms and wasting a turn. You want them to just go after the main body, and so having Quake Kid online gets you there quicker.
Yeah, meanwhile, the Staleman, Dave opts for the fast anchor, and unfortunately, he does give the Staleman an opportunity to swing. So his Callum and Kane not going to get that experience.
Yeah, I think for Dave, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it helps a bit when you do have Quake Kid online, but I don't like. The only Berserker you really care is the one you started with, which is and that just happens to be Edge. So it's like, at that point, Kane is there. Cool. It's nice to have when you have more when we have more Berserkers doing work. But at this point, if you didn't like have Kane, you wouldn't have missed the beat. So I think that's what Dave is treating it. And if it's not really slowing you down, it's not the worst thing that could happen.
Yeah, I think the point really is trying to get Palom up to that Quake mark. And we did see Pyre's Palom, unfortunately, did take one punch and fell over. So I don't know if either of our runners are going to have Quake available to them for this Baigen fight, which might extend out this particular Baigen fight. Baigen's not easy at this spot. He is very, very punchy. So you would ideally like to have something going, but I honestly don't think we're set up terribly well for it.
I'm pretty sure they'll manage. It's the question. It's how much faster it would be if Quake Kid is online. I like battles call faster, but there is a point where it doesn't make a difference. And is it Alt Gauntlet? I think that was a delay. I think that is it. Oh. Sorry.
No, and that's perfectly fine. Now we know any blue robe we see is going to be the Alt Gauntlet, so we can not even second guess ourselves. So it's not ideal, but honestly, there's a lot of worse things that we could see here.
I mean, I get scared of Baigen is at this spot, or there's another combinations like Dark Imps. So this spot is while free, but you still have to get through it with all the punches dealt. This spot, super punchy because the values here are set to which values that you normally don't see because King Venom, they don't punch, they don't ever punch. So a lot of spots where they don't usually punch, they're overtuned because who cares? But in a randomizer, it's wonderful chaos.
Meanwhile, we're set up. Kane did take a pretty solid punch there. Meanwhile, does look like we're setting Palom up to be the anchor. Got a dwarf and Drain Sword. That is something I don't think we saw Pyre pick up. That Drain Sword is another -5 agility, I believe. So that middle slot is going to be even slower.
I think that was a spear. So that's a lot. That's a lot.
That's -10 then, yeah.
Yeah, that's -10 agility, but not just agility brawl stats, but all we care about is agility here, because for an anchor, Palom, if Palom doesn't reach nuke status, it doesn't matter. So having the anchor being as slow as possible, magic is like, it's nice if you get it, but if you don't, you're the anchor, so it doesn't matter. And we're not losing. Pyre's not losing sleep over Quake Kid going down. As long as the anchor does its job by being slow, that's all that matters. It's just being present.
All right, so Dave is entering his Baigen fight now. As Pyre has been at it for a little bit, that edge is swinging quite hard. Getting close to the end of the fight here. Oh, there it is. So as Dave starts, Pyre finishes.
Yep. I don't think the speed of this won't be that much faster or slower. It should be taking about the same time. They have mostly the same equipment. Not, so there's no significant difference outside of kind of watching characters do this. Probably wasting a few turns on the arms, which is kind of normal. So just. Though I'm surprised Engidave hasn't Berserk Kane. So because Kane can just like a Edge will randomly pick a target and to hit. So and getting rid of the arms helps a lot with Edge and just doing overall DPS on the main body.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that Dave hasn't berserked up Kane just to keep some extra damage pressure on those arms. Right now, Edge is doing 100% of the heavy lifting, and he doesn't necessarily have to. Now, you do want to maximize the amount of turns that Edge has, but I still think that Pyre probably had a slightly faster fight at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, Kane is just kind of taking turns doing nothing. I mean, I think not sure what Engidave's Palom is at, but if that Palom has had virus, I know Pyre doesn't even have virus on his Palom. So, but that would getting rid of leaving a singular arm would help.
Okay, so Dave does not get everything done. Kane takes a fall over. Pyre opts to do, I mean, we did see an Octomom at the top of tower, so we know that's eventually going to have to be done. Meanwhile, Pyre is doing Dwarf Castle. Finds a free fight over there. Meanwhile, Dave's Pitfall is at 31:05. Meanwhile, it was 29:25, so it's about 80 seconds almost 100-second difference between Pyre and Engidave getting into the underground. Very, very close. Routing decisions are what's going to make the difference here.
Yeah, I mean, right now with the underground, you have a lot of options. You can just go immediately do lower babble immediately as you lift off. You're just gonna just kind of land. You just think you have to move a little bit, but you can always do this immediately. But this route. Well, Pyre's finding out from free fight followed by technically another free fight with a dupe character, dupe Rosa. That's fine. It doesn't matter. But yeah, Edge is gonna take care of this fight for the most part and not have to worry about it.
Meanwhile, it does look like we are doing something a little bit different on Dave's side. He is setting himself up. He's got Rune Tiara. His Quake Kid is going to be fully powered up.
Yeah.
And he says, my Kane has been knocked over. He's already low level. Let's go ahead and make him my anchor right now.
Kane with Omni can kind of be the optimal berserker, but if you're expecting, and it's not unreasonable to think that if you do enough trap treasure chests, getting Quake Kid to nuke, it's not a problem. I mean, it's more likely than not, especially if you kind of go through all the treasure chests with all the XP essentially lying around in chests. It's easy in a catapult Palom to nuke. So it's just a matter of time, but At least his Quake Kid has Quake, so it can actually take care of this chest pretty quickly.
Worth noting, Pyre did do Dwarf Castle, and it was just a ribbon, so no real guidance otherwise. So right now, it looks like Pyre's a little bit behind. If Dave ends up just bypassing Dwarf Castle entirely, that will be advantage him. But Dave does get the one shot. And that's an important one.
Yeah, that's the first, probably one of the first things to be done as soon as leaving the underground, because you want that exit on Rosa, but also it's also an objective. So two first, and hey, some vanilla.
Vanilla rat tail, I'll take it. I will absolutely take it. I mean, we gotta take it back there, but sure. And nothing there. We gotta walk out. That's right, Dave. It's all right.
it's still worth peeking the bosses. As you want to make sure, just kind of keep kind of in the back of your mind, especially, or if you're kind of self-tracking, you want to make sure like you're not going to fight these because they won't contain a key item. All summons, key summon is a dawn, so key items will not become summons. That includes if you do tending the pan, the sylphs will not be part of it. So in all the other summon boss fights like Odin and Bahamut, those are not factors. And surprising, I saw a blitz that did a lot of damage. So I don't know how many stat sticks Edge was given, but it's more than enough because blitz is actually pretty strong. It's wisdom stat not really strong, but with Omnidex you got a charm rod. I'm pretty sure, and whatever else, more than enough to one shot them without talk about the Quake Kid.
Well, we've had 2 tiaras picked up, and that tiara is just a beast of an item. I think it's plus 15 wisdom or something.
It's 10. It's a charm rod.
It's still good, yeah.
Yeah, the stat. Those are stat armors. Since you can put it anywhere, because Omnidex allows you to put any piece of armor anywhere. So a tiara, well, usually limited to the 3 girls that are in the game. Anyone can use a tiara because you can.
Yeah, just a fantastic piece of equipment. Dave is, of course, taking advantage. He's like, hey, we got this RA1 set up already. Let's just go ahead and sweep through everything that we need to sweep through right now. So doing the self-trap chest. Pyre also right there with him has a very similar idea. Just a white shirt from the first one.
This is kind of interesting. Engidave is going through the. I'm gonna take out all the ghosts. The ghost chests are all the top row. In vanilla, they'll contain elixirs, but here it'll be worth doing something.
So with Kane still alive, we do not have a perfect RA1 setup anymore. Right now on Dave's side, unfortunately. Not what he wanted to get set up. Now, he was fortunate. Rosa was the first one up, so he said, okay, we got the mute going, so we'll not take any damage there. But that was a scary moment there for Dave when Quake Kid was not the first thing that popped up.
Yeah, but you kind of know the drill. If you can't get Quake, you want to get mute up on the enemies, as that's their first move is fire 2, and once they start, they don't. You're not getting a turn. You're not really gonna get a turn in, at least in a timely manner. So it's smart thinking. It's like, you know what your backup is in the worst case, and that is the worst case. So and very fortunate.
Yeah. So quick reorganization, said, okay, Rosa, please take care of this for me. Meanwhile, Pyre's set up. He's keeping his Quake Kid down, says, I do not need Nuke. I have an edge, and he's going to do all the heavy lifting for me.
You know, I think starting to wonder if this case. I know this is chest dense, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily key item dense. There's a good chance to have one key item here, but having more than one is kind of a shaky deal. And getting Hanzo Steel, but actually it's great, except it's not as great as you think in Omnidex. Edge's katanas, wonderful weapons normally, but if you look at it as an individual weapon, it's not as strong if you do the numbers. Great in pairs, terrible individually.
All right. Time for the last one. Both these runners are getting through all of these. The Poison Treasury, I think, is what this has been called. Certainly, we've got some decent pieces of equipment. I've seen a white shirt. I've seen a defense sword. I think we've seen some Argus arrows, which, okay, not too terribly thrilled about that. But more importantly, we're getting levels on everything, which I think is going to be key. Dave, first one out, of course, I think, and he's diving right back in. Going to do Toad Lady and then at least set up to check Sheila 1.
I'm gonna at this point. I think Toad Lady is gonna be Womp. This is completely disappointing. You got 7 trap chests, and this is the last one. Engidave is gonna find out for us whether it holds a key item right now. The best thing out of the treasure chest is a Defensa, which is actually a solid neutral, like no elemental weapon. And for even an edge that has an Avenger, Defensor is perfect to shore up full damage, full attack power. Well, at least capping it out. It's capped out at 255, and that's all you really need.
And you see just the Silent Staff. So Pyre also picking up that Silent Staff. This was a disappointing Poison Treasury, but I think it was the correct play for both of these runners, because when you look at this particular setup and how it's going, it was set up too perfectly, right? You had easy access to multiple sweepers, so you might as well knock it out.
Yeah, I'm surprised Engidave isn't going Keyless Tower, because then that's what's left. I mean, if you're gambling that that Sheila 1 will save that, I mean that is itself a gamble, because it's kind of not likely, but not improbable. So I think, but either way, you're gonna probably at least do Zot. That is a guarantee after doing all of that, because you will definitely that's the only source of exit, and even though you have Quake Kid, although in Pyre's case we'll probably not have a leveled up Quake Kid, because Warp is a kind of a higher level, like 29. That is, you definitely want you want exit whenever possible. Warp is nice, especially if you're doing Sealed Cave, which both runners have decided to fade, at least at the moment.
Yeah, this will be interesting. So now we are set up, going to be checking, Sheila 1. Pyre also checking Rat Tail, probably also setting up the Sheila 1 check.
Yeah, then if you're surprised that our runners are doing the same thing, it's because that's what at least the routing says at this point. You want to do as many things close by, ideally, and that is a Womp, very useful piece of equipment, but not a key item.
Nope, not at all. So keep in mind, Pyre is up a Dwarf Castle check, and that's not a short check. If Dave ends up ever going to Dwarf Castle, we know it's a Womp. We know it's gonna not need anything. Pyre does reset out, so saves the walkout. Dave wanted that crystal ring, but Dave and Pyre are both saying, "Yeah, that Earth crystal is looking mighty fine right now. Let's go ahead and do the turn in." It'll be interesting to see if either of them actually open up the treasury. I wouldn't. Honestly, I think both of them are going to be comfortable with their power levels from the equipment they got from the Poison Treasury on its own, and are going to say, "No, I don't need it." But Dave, okay, Dave is going in. So is Pyre. Okay, they both make fools of me.
Oh no, it's that boss that you can't evade. Dave has found the inventory boss, and is having to dump stuff. There's still plenty of good pieces of equipment here, especially the Drain Spears, because you need to guarantee your anchor stays an anchor. But that's a Kane treasury. I swear that
was a fantastic treasury. Like Gungnir Spears, light swords, poison axes, rune axes, like. If you wanted for weaponry before coming in here, you're done now. You're good to go.
Yeah, that is for sure. A lot of these races, you'll have probably a second or third berserker. So having essentially a well equipped set of characters right now, will really just in this part is really just Kane and Edge. That's more than enough. You could probably pick up another berserker if if the seat lends to it. We'll see what's at the top of tower to see if which character's worth picking up, or if they're both dupes. Because hey, they still can be dupes. I don't know how many dupes we've countered, but it's still plenty more to come by.
Also worth pointing out that the inventory boss that Dave did have to fight, and him having to manage that, did set it up to where Pyre passed him in the treasury. So in addition to this, I mean, they've been on the same route the entire time. So in a straight line race, Pyre is in the lead of Engidave as well. If they keep following the exact same route, Dave's going to be in a little bit of trouble here. Pyre, again, still has the entire dwarf castle up. So this is really interesting. And now Dave is... Oh, no. Wow.
It's fine. It's not ideal. They'll still be fast enough, as this spot is pretty slow of edge. Even with the anchors that have been decided, they're still This have not quite enough levels that they're still faster than the spot. So no worries here. Although the Val spot is actually pretty speedy, so we'll find out what's there.
And this is good information. In fact, this is going to drive Engidave away from Dwarf Castle. He sees that Asura is going to be at Dwarf Castle waiting for him and says, well, it's not what I'm looking for. So that's one more reason for Dave to avoid Dwarf Castle right now. I actually really like this. Oh, hello, Cecil.
DKC in this flag set is still pretty good, because the one thing you remember about vanilla DKC is his equipment options are abysmal. With Omnidex, the world is his oyster, and you don't have cover, you don't have another source of a guaranteed source of exit, but he's still a fighter. He still kicks butt. I mean, there's no problem here. So that's, but he can also be an anchor. That is always an option. So Engidave, no rush to revive DKC, as probably might just be the anchor anyway. So, could have. There's a lot of fun, Cecil. This is your duty for the rest of the seed, probably.
I mean, Pyre finishes the fight right away, and his Dark Knight Cecil stays alive. I mean, Dark Knight Cecil is interesting. He can certainly equip the weapons and be a melee character. His HP pool really is abysmal, though. I mean, it's equivalent to Edward's, and just a rune axe, unfortunately.
It's better than Edward's. That's
Is it though? Is it?
It's low. I admit it's very low, but it's not. It's easily better than Edward for quite a while. Edward gains his HP like beyond level 60. It's a strange HP curve, put it that way. But right now, if he is being used, it's gonna be like an Edward capacity though, one way or the other. So but hey, you got Omnidex. You can swing anything. It doesn't matter.
And the fact that these two are still running in the same path is just mind-blowing to me. I mean, the seed hasn't given us a whole lot of direction, so it's either this or do Keyless Tower, which, again, has 4 trap chests in addition to having the objective at the top of the tower. Both of these runners are avoiding that particular check. I don't know why, but they're just running over each other's... I mean, they're just doing the exact same thing, which is making for an incredibly exciting race right now. They're in the same place. Again, Pyre does have Dwarf Castle up, but otherwise, these two are neck and neck.
If Engidave does Dwarf, because if this doesn't pan out to be vanilla darkness, then most likely you're gonna see a Babel run from, and that's gonna it's most likely gonna happen regardless because of the key item density that's left that's left on the overworld. So I think this is I think this is just trying to avoid a possible I mean, no, Keyless Tower is a kind of a meme, because like you want to do it for reasons, but yeah, that's. But I think you also want to do it for the boss check as well, but yeah, I think loosely you want to avoid doing keyless tower. You want to do going up the tower with the tower key, and I think that's what they're trying to at least check on, and that's not it. And yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah, we're not doing that as well. Okay. So Dave says, all right, we're done with that, and he is making a beeline towards tower, and that's all Pyre has left. It's worth pointing out that Pyre has done literally everything else. There's no other option for Pyre. Dave could have done Dwarf Castle, but says, I still think that after seeing that boss from the Tower of Zopchek, that he says, nope, if I'm going to last location anything, it's going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, Dwarf is not really appealing to me, especially with the warp glitch off. The warp glitch warp belong to warp from Dwarf Castle into the Crystal Rooms, and essentially steal the dwarf.
Hey, there's Tower Key.
See, it's perfect. That's how we wanted it, at least in our runners' minds. Yeah, that is. Those are combinations. This is like. I just love it when you get the key item for the area for the dungeon. You're immediately needing that key item in, like Earth Crystal in the Flame Dog chest. Or this is kind of the next best thing.
Meanwhile, Dave does take a second to get his team equipped and anchored properly. Pyre that now takes the straight line lead.
Yeah, though there's no guarantee that darkness is at the top. This could be one of the other trap chests still to be found. Could be the top of tower, the boss. So still plenty of options. But though for runners, they're probably going to be trying to be thorough about it, because you don't want to avoid getting the pass in this instance. As who wants to be going down the LST a second time?
Yeah, so that pass really does make some interesting routing decisions as well. It makes it a little bit easier to dive deeper into the LST, so you can exit out and maybe get your items so you can complete everything. Without it makes it a little bit more difficult to justify not doing a top-down route there. Just an Earth Hammer. So we do have the Tower Key now, which is nice, that we're going to do both the Tower Key Super Cannon location as well as the Octomom at the top of the tower. Still no Babul Gauntlet anywhere. Meanwhile, that's probably the best place we can see a weapon, isn't it?
I mean, best place, and this didn't even work. Shell in Protect, they don't actually have a 100% chance of working. So Wyvern doing Wyvern things. And also that spot doesn't even have a high spell multiplier, so that it's funny when it doesn't go off. It's and there are plenty of other randomized spells that Wyvern could use, but today decided to be cheeky.
So Pyre also set up a little bit of went in and menued a little bit. This race right now, and this is a shout out to everyone and anyone out there in the free enterprise community who wants to get into speed running and wants to see like how the pros do it, because both Pyre and Engidave I would consider at the top of the free enterprise class. This particular race highlights minimize your menuing, because you're seeing how these two are just trading leads back and forth depending on when one person is doing menuing, when the other person is doing the menuing, how you're setting up your party, and how everything is getting organized. It's really kind of instructive to see how the lead is changing back and forth so frequently based on little micro transactions that these two are doing within the different menus. So very, very instructive for anyone out there who wants to get more proficient at speedrunning.
I mean, you see some of the optimizations just moving items while fighting. So I guess we have an objective to go to just in case, because who doesn't want music? That's a guaranteed go to, but we'll also find out what is. It might not be necessarily be darkness at the upon leaving the tower after doing the super cannon room. So could be behind a twin harp for all we know, or behind some chain within the twin harp connection.
Yeah, and because we have to do the twin harp anyway because that is an objective. So, we have 2 objectives down. We have a third one. This is going fantastic as far as I'm concerned. This is everything that you want in a free enterprise race. Remember, this is an elimination race for Pyre. If Engidave wins, he does take the series 2-0. I would love to see a third race between these two, honestly.
Yes, root for. If you want more free enterprise, you root for the third match. So, and I'm all for it. And both the runners will find out, because while normally you would kind of pick up the hook, normally the sequence you'd have to go up to Baron, get the hook, but hey, we're just gonna give it to you right here, then there, and that's a lovely detour we're gonna take.
Yeah, we're gonna do the twin harp right now. Actually, we're gonna actually make a pit stop.
I think fortunately, there aren't any more chaining connections in terms of key items. We're gonna complete the rest of the pan before doing twin harp. So the sylphs will not get you a key item. We'll get you something great, but will not be a key item. So right now here it's just to get to Sheila too. So it's just worth noting.
Yeah, that's actually massive, because when we go to the moon, we can check the bosses and just kind of like burn through those very, very quickly. And okay, there's the inventory boss one more time for Dave. But you're absolutely right. It's like, okay, we go to the moon. If we're doing the key item checks, we're getting, okay, magma key, and we need 2 parts of the forge. I don't know if we're going to have a chance to forge today. That might not be in the cards.
Or it could be a layup. It could be it could be in the ribbon room on the LST. That can be a thing. Not that it would be likely to happen, because having 2 key items specifically just for that objective in that spot. But then again, I would never rule out, because rando be rando.
Just a package. No. Pyre also, you saw that Pyre saved the last time we did the Sheila 1 check. Pyre did also saved here. It has to go through the cutscene for Sheila 1, get the crystal, get package 2, and is resetting out again. So
that's an unfortunate time loss, because you're doing it again. But there is a kind of a worst case scenario, like if you're not thinking of doing forge, but all gauntlet is behind package, that might be something. And so Engidave has the opportunity just to check package before leaving the Earth for the Darkness Crystal, which is likely on the twin harp route. So actually it has to be on the twin harp route. There's nowhere else to go.
Yeah, this is absolutely going to be 10 key items. And chat made an interesting point, but then that just countered it, because that's 10 key items for Engidave. However, it's going to be 10 key items for Pyre as soon as this ends up being the Darkness Crystal. So, any advantage that we were going to have from 10 key items is out the window.
At this point, I would be panicking most times if you don't get 10 key items before going to the moon. So this is good for our runners, at least in terms of getting XP, getting Quake Kid essentially nuke ready. Although I don't think Pyre is going to be on that route. But there's those are decisions. I'm not sure whether it's going to be a punishment down the road. But Pyre is already set up to just end the fight prematurely, because hey, it's the magnetic cave.
Yep. Meanwhile, it is DJ Spoony B. We are going to allow the DJ to spin his beats here directly. Have at it, everyone. Okay, so that was the Final Fantasy V opening, and it was in fact the Darkness Crystal that we do see. So Pyre, first one to the moon. Here's where the routing gets super interesting as well, because there's a few different ways we can go. We're still looking for bosses. We know we have to defeat the boss at Cave Bahamut. That is not going to be a key item, but it is still a boss check, so maybe the gauntlet is there. But we have a trap chest on the giant, which also has a couple bosses that we can check. We have a trap chest, in the lunar subterrane, or we could, or the lunar pathway as well, in addition to everything on the way. So lots of different routing decisions now that we're effectively neck and neck going into the moon check.
Yeah, there's a lot of routing decisions that can be made. There are a few ones that will, that might be taken just on preference that it will get most of it. Like you could just do one kind of straight path through the moon towards the bottom, or there's still and it could be out of the way, like the Merzame altar, like kind of a popular thing. I like going to. There's also a trap chest on that route as well. A very less difficult, but kind of easier. That trap chest is a very easy starting point to get some quick XP before doing real fights, the stronger fights. So, but Pyre is taking the giant route, which is a very interesting choice. Maybe peek the first spot just in case, if that is if it has the boss that we're looking, the alt gauntlet that we're looking for. So that might be that's an interesting decision. There's also the hairdryer's chest that we haven't spoken of yet. So that might be way after doing after this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I tend to prefer doing this particular check because I think it is the most efficient way to do it. But if it's not, Dave's going to the moon first. So already routing differentiation just to Stardust Rod for the key item in the trap chest. Now, if this ends up being the alt gauntlet here in Giant 1, this is going to be a fantastic pull for Pyre. Otherwise, a bit of time wasted. And it is!
I can hear the shot through the muffled screams.
I'm sorry.
That is the least likely thing to happen, but it happened, and so Pyre kind of has an upper edge because, right now Engidave is just doing hair dryers because it's an easy check. Just needs to get some XP on some characters, but Pyre fight is just kind of just stumbling onto this, and this can be very much a difference maker as. Essentially, doesn't have to really do the boss sense. He's really just looking for the magma key or parts of forge, and ideally just wants to stumble on the magma key as getting forge will take 2 key items. So right now, really, Pyre has a distinct advantage here just on this gamble alone.
Yeah, and this is going to be incredibly difficult. So, under normal circumstances, you say, okay, so the time difference then is going to be the difference between when Dave finds the first key item and the next one. For example, there's a lot of trap chests that are very, very close to one another. There's some interesting density in the LST, but the difference between it's the difference between the first and the third, because realistically, he has to also get the adamant. The best thing to happen for Dave is when he starts opening trap chests, he gets the first part of forge first, then the magma key, and then almost immediately the second part of forge. That's going to be Dave's path to victory right now. If the magma key comes first, depending on the order that everyone opens these chests, it's a distinct possibility that Dave will end up losing this just based on this play by Pyre.
Yeah. So what about down to is the key item. Where are the key items, and how much time you're going to spend taking on trap chests or boss spots to get it? That is time Pyre will kind of effectively gain. Though I think what's left is kind of everything on the moon, right? So it's a kind of matter of, can Engidave go through every spot quickly? He's more than capable of doing it, but just the process of doing it is just as kind of lengthy as like an alt gauntlet, which Pyre has just completed. So you kind of take all this to account, and it will be a really tight race to the end for sure.
More to the point, Pyre did blow through that incredibly quickly. Had the Earth Hammer, which those hammers make quick work of the giants and all the different machinery that's out there. So that Earth Hammer really put in quite a bit of work for Pyre there. Meanwhile, Dave does get through Vivaldis, is rewarded with just a glass hat. This race just got exciting, folks.
Yeah, so Pyre, you've seen Pyre's Palom been down for the most part, but there's a key thing that we haven't spoken about because it wasn't a thought, but maybe thinking maybe Palom might not be towards the end. No, it's back to DKC being the anchor again. So what Pyre was using is the slingshot. And so basically, when there's a full party, that means 5 characters. The characters 5 levels under the median, the middle level of the characters that are in the party, those they will get double the XP gained. So that's why Pyre's Palom is at level 42, because that alt gauntlet is just oozing XP. So once Pyre gets to fighting a lot of the LST fight chests, that Palom will definitely be nuke ready.
I mean, hey, there's an Edward. Do we want an Edward?
I think Pyre would take the Edward just to dump the DKC. That would be the only thing that will happen for Pyre. Otherwise, it's again floor duty. Do you want to be the anchor?
Like, who wants anchor duty? That's really what it comes down to.
Oh, Engidave is doing. Oh, it's going to be full clearing early. This is interesting because and again, this is going to be time consuming, but this should be an easy fight given given the equipment you have. Avenger and Ogre Axe, so the red giants are not too long for this world.
No, but they cannot be one shot. Is really the issue.
Yeah, the closest thing to one shot is having Palom get to weak and then to weak them and then do one swing and that's it, or like do a virus and then weak, and that should, as long as the virus is still, the HP leak that from virus is ongoing, then that'll automatically do the work. But this is gonna consume a lot of time for Engidave as they won't. We know that the Alt Gauntlet is not going to be at any of the boss spots, so that's a problem. And although Pyre discarded the Edward, okay, well I guess DKC probably got a good enough, probably a pair. I think we got like a pair of drain spears from the treasury, so that's more than enough to make the anchor stay really slow.
Yeah, it'll be perfectly fine. Meanwhile, Dave does pick up a second Avenger sword from the double red giant. I mean, and they're on the same LST carry warlock chest. I mean, this is just incredible. More to the point, Pyre has significantly higher levels from that alt gauntlet. So Pyre's set up and ready to do. Hey, we're ready to go ahead and rock the Zero Mist as soon as we get the items.
Yeah, I mean, Alt Gauntlet, we lovely call it the grind that you want, and especially at later areas such as the Giant or even the LST, the XP you gain is just incredible. So but in worst case, it becomes your second grind, and that is not a place many of our runners do not want to be in. So in Pyre's case, this is like it's a boon for Engidave. If Engidave goes actually decides to go hunt down, which I don't think is going to happen, but maybe we'll decide depending on how this boss hunt is going. It's just, I don't know. It's probably won't do it because it'll probably go for the key items because we know because the beginning of the boss is literally out of his way at this point. So key items are what's left.
Yeah, and I if you're a fan of Engidave and you want him to win, you're at least a little bit glad that there weren't any key items here early on, so that Pyre couldn't get the easy win just right away. Pyre is just looking for key items right now, knows no incentive to go ahead and do the Cave Bahamut right now, since already done the full gauntlet, knows exactly what's going on. So now it's just a matter of, hey, everything is set up just right. And now Dave is opening up this behemoth check. I learned to enjoy these behemoth chests because they're really, really kind of easy. 3 swings if you're equipped right, and all you do is take counter hits, and that's it, and you're done. Like, these are nice and quick.
I like behemoth chests. I don't even think it's worth going to swap anchors for the most part. You just, although having Edge as the anchor completely neutralizes their speed. I mean, behemoths they're like overworld level bosses. They're slow, and that's what makes them less threatening. Now, obviously, if you have a slow anchor, you speed them up. But given the occasional random attack, like unless you really don't really need to switch anchors for behemoth. You just take them as they come. They're just, unless you're like a low level early moon dive. This is like they're free. They're like free XP as far as I'm concerned.
Meanwhile, Dave has said, nope, I'm done with the trap chest. I'm not opening any more. Pyre is going to keep on opening the trap chest in order. So we have a little bit of divergence. Here's Bimmy and Jimmy. We have the Dragon Whip, of course. Pyre is the one who's going to be using it.
I mean, it's the easiest. Bimmy and Jimmy. You have Avenger. You have Dragon Whip. You don't have to worry. This doesn't even matter if BKC takes a nap from Pyre's side. It's fine. We're good. I mean, there's still a lot more chests to take and free burr because hey, why not?
Hey, there's a piece of the puzzle for Dave. Legend Sword.
But it still needs a second piece. It's definitely nice to have, and there are trying to remember the count. I think there's 9 trapped treasure chests. So, and there's only 5. There are only 5 boss spots. So you kind of do the math. The key items have to be at the boss spots. So, if whatever Engidave decides to go after, be more thorough in the treasure chest, the trapped treasure chest count for the remaining key items. This is I mean kind of in, I guess, not entirely uncharted territory, but something like kind of uncomfortable territory. This, given the situation, Pyre is in a way more comfortable position. Just has to find the treasure chest, get levels, whenever if it happens that way. But yeah, Pyre is definitely in the driver's seat because just looking for key items, whereas Engidave is kind of hoping for to bump into Alt Gauntlet, and we know it's not here.
Another Avenger there. There's a spoon there. So Pyre has opened all of these trap chests. So far, nothing going for him, although continuing to open up these trap chests. The Warlock defossil one. This is an interesting check as well. I think this one's pretty easy. I tend to open this one as well just because it's right here.
Yeah, I like a lot of the spots where you can pretty much insta kill them usually with a foo. If the foo was here, or a high level palom with stone is usually more is usually enough. But oftentimes when you have Omnidex, you just leave it to the Zerkers to just let them do the work and not have to worry about it. This spot where Engidave's fighting at the Ogo spot actually very surprisingly threatening if you don't have any magic defense on any of your characters. The lightning one, not having a high base spell power can be very devastating because this spot has basically a magic stat that not even your characters have access to. So you basically above the 96 stat. And that means their spell multiplier is a lot higher than usual. So some oftentimes high damaging spells like a glare, that will just do quad 9. So this spot can do some damage.
That's okay, and that's Pyre's go mode right now. That was the magma key that was in that other carry Warlock chest. So Pyre only has to go over do that chest. Dave has to not only pick up that magic key, but also I think Dave will pick that one up on his way to do some other checks here. So he will be warping over. Yeah, doing this one, so he will get the Magna Key, which is from this chest. Then Pyre, he's got to find the other, the Adamant, almost immediately after that, on his way to the Crystal Sword altar. But otherwise, this is a rough spot. Pyre certainly in the driver's seat.
Yeah, kind of it only takes one particular event goes in your way, especially late in the seed where you put them in the driver's seat, because that could have been, for Pyre's case, that Alt Gauntlet could have been at the CPU spot, and probably wouldn't have been checked. Just check the element spot, and maybe just call it quits. Maybe depending on the difficulty of that spot, maybe do it and then find out it's at the CPU spot. It could just be that small of a change, but that's a lot of time, quite a bit of a time difference, and Dave needs kind of essentially adamant to literally pop up right here, right now, or that's it.
Yeah. It's either in this check or it's in the behemoth chest on the way here, because we've checked literally every other spot. However, Pyre does exit out, so Pyre only has to drop the magma key and then off to Zeramus. I
think someone's thinking on the same wavelength I'm thinking. I think it's I see a letter.
Well, there's the adamant. There's the adamant. It's not over. It's not over.
Yes, and the rush to turn in everything, and so at least we're at least gonna find what the Super Smith gives us, and I think Pyre will have at least a minute head start, probably even 2 minutes. Just you have to do the turn-ins, and Dave has to also go to the underground to do his turn-in, so that additional turn-in. So it's kind of a time difference. So this will definitely be close. So right now it all depends on the Z fight for Pyre.
Yep, it's gonna come down to Z fight efficiency, but it's gonna be very, very close. So congratulations, everyone! You paid for your whole seat. You only need the edge.
I think I see that flag appearing. Is it
Yeah.
Is it time to take a nap? Because I am kind of feeling. I think I need a nap. It is kind of getting it's early late, I guess. Early evening.
Not quite late. It's been a long day, though. I can agree, but that flag does mean something very specific. So that is a question that our chat likes to ask. For everyone who doesn't know, we are Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise. We're a randomizer community. We like to randomize things. We randomize the songs in the game. We randomize the bosses. We randomize the armor. Literally everything we like to randomize. However, we cannot randomize the boss, the Z Sprite, because putting a big bang in the Antline Cave is certainly painful. I have experienced it. We don't want to do that. So what's a randomizer community to do that likes to randomize everything? Well, when you use the crystal on Zeramus, he does reveal his true colors. And those true colors can be one of more than 600 different sprites, curated, of course, by our community. So that Z flag is asking a very simple question. Whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
And obviously obligatory questions like, does it have a hat? Is it cute? There's a overwhelming number of sprites, over 500, and if you've ever run the randomizer, check out the randomizer at on the free website, because there's just so many sprites. I don't think I've ever seen it all, and of course it's Wreck-It Ralph. At least from the movie. I don't think that's the game. Is that the name of the game? I think it.
Wreck-It Ralph is the name of the movie.
Yes, yeah, that's definitely it's definitely an exquisite sprite, and go for it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Pyre is swinging for 6,000 and 7,000 apiece with his two Zerkers. It almost doesn't matter what everyone else is gonna swing for. This is going to be incredibly quick on Pyre's side. This may be done before Engidave really gets started on his fight, unfortunately.
I mean, it's a beautiful scene when you have Zerkers doing all the work. I mean, I think there might be a cure for, maybe not. It doesn't really matter. I think that right now they're definitely going to avoid second Big Bang and if they go to Rock's phase, both characters that are Zerked up already by the Avenger Sword. They're just gonna keep swinging, and it's gonna be over soon, quicker than you know it.
Swinging for almost 9,000. This is the beauty of Omnidextrous, where the attack power and the multipliers just get obscene a little bit. And that is the crash boom bang for Pyre, right about the same time that Engidave is doing his. GG's to Pyre, does complete the seed and does force a game 3 out of this particular series. It was so very close. Lots going on here, and I certainly hope both runners watch this one back because it was so good. We'll see if Pyre will join us here directly.
Yeah, GG's to Pyre. That was blazing quick. NJ won't be too far behind. Still be very quick fight because this is kind of running on the same principles, and looks like Pyre joins us here. GG's again, Pyre.
GG's, thank you.
So, I mean, you see how close the finish is going to be coming up here on screen. Did it feel like it was one of those kinds of seeds that you guys are just like it was set up that way, or how did it feel to you as you were running it?
To me, it felt like Engidave have my number because of the last location of the darkness and checking everything else on the blue planet. So I thought I was probably way behind. So I was surprised to see us so close.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you to watch this one back because you two ran about everything identical. The same checks at the same time. About the only thing different that happened is you did the dwarf castle check and Dave did not. But otherwise, it was a straight line race by and large. You found really the difference was that alt gauntlet that you found on Giant. Dave never found that, and so he had to keep clearing until he eventually found both pieces of the forge up on the moon.
Yeah, and the moon bosses, judging by the reel, had the rest of the goods too, so it was quite a trek for him to get all of his stuff.
Well, I mean, it all happened very quickly. I think you both got your darkness crystal right around the 1 hour mark, so you can see, take really full clearing the moon only took, less than 20 minutes for the two of you. So very fast seed. Of course, you had all the power in the world, edge right out of the gate, Avenger swords. It was everything that you could possibly want, really.
Yeah, especially with that Avengers so early, you just kind of throw it on whoever and let them go to town.
Absolutely. Now, I do want to ask, because you got that hook relatively early, doing the Edward checks, Edward into the Flame Dog checks. However, you still opted to go ahead and check everything else on the overworld before diving in the hook route. Is that your normal standard play, or do you dive hook earlier, or what's the thinking behind that?
No, that's not my typical standard play. Me and Ngave's last game, I faded some stuff and I got real bit for it. So I was trying to just be as efficient and thorough as I could, hitting everything in a row to make travel between the checks as little as possible.
No doubt, routing definitely helped out cover some of the, even though you did have the advantage a little early on by stumbling onto the hook early, although that didn't ultimately make a difference. But the gamble, I think it was a gamble because you decided to do Giant and peak peak the element spot, and you were well rewarded.
Yeah, I was a little happy and a little scared that I saw him there because the gauntlet at that point was no big deal, and I was set up for it just in case it was there. But since it was right there, I was really worried since I last location darkness that I was even farther behind when I saw it. But the Giant's one of my standard checks because I like to check it before leaving the blue planet so I don't have to sit through the cutscene of the whale going back to the blue planet because the whale just goes up and then comes down and then you're off.
Oh wait, yeah, for sure. Although I think for the most part, both of you were thinking on the same wavelength. Of course, there's some small deviations here and there, but you were kind of neck and neck. And I mean, if you take watch back the VOD, you'll see that you weren't too far behind. Although I'm sure every racer in the back of their mind is panicking. It's like, I did last location. Well, Engidave kind of mostly did the same thing, more or less. So you're in good company here.
Yeah, got lucky. I think that we both last locationed. But no, it was a little bit of scary race because I didn't want to get out of the tournament just yet. So tried to do everything I could to not skip something or fade something that could really hurt me.
That's it from me. Viteja, do you have anything else to add?
Well, I mean, one last GG's. I guess the only question I have is I know that this forces a game 3 between you and Dave. When can we expect that game 3 to be scheduled? Because I think everyone's on the edge of our seats after watching this one.
Not sure. It'll be either Saturday or Sunday because I am unavailable tomorrow. So one of those days.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll let you and Dave talk about it. But one last GG's to you, Pyre, forcing the game 3 and just a fantastic race overall.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. Bye.
That was, of course, our winner, Pyre. We'll see if Engidave has a quick second to chat here as well. And there he is as well. Welcome, Engidave. We were on the edge of our seats for that entire race, Dave.
Naturally, the one time I decide to fade or not just go straight up the tower, it punishes hard.
If you watch this race back, you are going to see that you and Pyre ran almost everything in the exact same route identically, and it was driving us crazy the whole time.
And not getting the Avenger right away and wiping the plate was just not something you can do against Pyre. You can't give someone Pyre's caliber that much time.
Yeah, the plague didn't feel necessarily good. It's about the only thing that will punish you for a fast anchor, but having that edge right there in the middle certainly didn't help things, did it?
No, and I think I was like one tick slow of getting the life pod offer. We're through.
Yeah, I thought. I mean, still a tight race either way. There's. I mean, I definitely I could see what you were going for, and the whole way. I mean, everyone wants to have a tireless key run, except not in the case where you find the tower key in the tireless key run because rando be rando.
Oh, what are you grumping about? Go away.
The other thing I was going to ask you, because I know, you and I are tend to be big fans of doing the giant with that last arm check, and you opted not to do the giant this time around. I don't know if you and Pyre spoke afterwards, but giant won. That's where the alt gauntlet was, and that ended up helping Pyre out quite a bit.
Yeah, being on a boss hunt, I just wanted to get through the moon first, see if I could get the gauntlet down there, and guess wrong.
It was a worthwhile guess. You played the percentages, and it makes sense. You had cleared out, I mean, when you think about it, you had cleared out all the other boss checks that could possibly happen on the blue planet. You had no key items that could lead to any additional bosses on the blue planet, so you were just making the percentage guess.
And honestly, had the giant was my next stop if Crystal Sword wasn't something I could drop in 3 swings like that. Because I had access to every boss fight in the game.
Yeah, I did notice on your way down, you were kind of selective in terms of which trap chest you opened. Do you have a strategy on which ones you open? Just kind of on their right easy ones?
I'll usually get the first few, and then I was debating the dragons, but decided no, I want to hit ultras instead. I'll usually hit I'll hit the ones. I like hitting the ones at the top because that way I don't have to go back there.
Right, for the efficient routing.
Yep.
Yeah, totally understood. Still, you're pretty much blazing through all those chests, even though that was, you were looking for all the key items, and I know you were looking for Old Gauntlet, and of course, as the audience knew, like that you wouldn't have stumbled onto it like that. I think still close. Race was still close. I mean, you picked up the last key item you needed to just even have a chance to come back, and it's still, and took a gamble on your opponent's side just to get there. I mean, that's still pretty good when you've considered what you've cleared.
We haven't scheduled game 3 yet, but hopefully there we make slightly fewer bad guesses. It's just a few less.
Yeah, that's the dream, right? The jet seat where all your decisions go the way you wanted them to.
The funny thing is, this seat's fast if you just follow your objectives.
Oh, no doubt. This is this is under the average time for the seed. So both of you, like, every second counted. So those differences made a difference, of course.
Did you catch my moment of panic and Sylph when I realized Talon wasn't RA1?
Oh yeah, we called that out. Luckily, Rosa was your first gone. It's like, oh yes, mute. Smart thinking. It was fast thinking, though. You handled it pretty well.
Yeah. Also, DKC, I want you to use as an anchor. Please do not start with a black sword.
Yeah, I think I caught that late. I was thinking, well, that's like, oh, that must have screwed around with everything, just little details. Like if you're gonna anchor, you gotta get your equipment set, but you didn't check. And
2 Avengers doesn't matter as much as you think.
Yeah, who doesn't love having both your berserkers having Avengers and just swing away and you just put the control down and call it a day. That's.
I said, Pyre and I will have a little chat. We'll figure out when game 3 is. Right now, it's to be determined.
Yeah, we spoke with Pyre a little bit. We'll let you guys get that sorted out. It's going to make for an exciting game 3. This one came down to the wire, and I know the last race was a lot closer as well. So game 3 is going to be fantastic.
That's what we're hoping for.
Any other last final thoughts before we let you go for the rest of the night?
No, that's pretty much it for the seed. Just follow some of the rules that Rybon set out. You'll get lucky, don't get unlucky. I'd like to thank Aaron Lore for rolling this one. Bang a gong. I made you push all the buttons. And you two, Death Like Invitasia, for doing a fantastic job on comms. And yeah. I will see you guys next time.
All right. Well, thanks so much, and take care, Dave.
Have a good.
GG's again, Dave.
And with that, we are going to wrap everything up here. I do want to give one last shout out again to both of our runners, Engidave and Pyre, for putting on just a fantastic race. Also want to give a shout out to our restreamer, Aaron Lore, our tracker, Bangagong, pushing literally all the buttons. And of course, Deathlike, my co-commentator. Pleasure working with you tonight, man.
It was a lot of fun. I think it's just was a shout out to hope everyone drops on the Discord to watch and see all the shenanigans that happens here, because there are also other races running, and so we hope you stay quiet about this race. Don't try to spoil this race to others. And I think we're gonna move you to in a race that's going on right now. I think might be moving you to Free Enterprise 2. Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
heading over to Free Enterprise 2 to another race that's ongoing. Remember, keep this one quiet, as we said. Thank you, everyone. There's even a third race going on tonight, so lots of Free Enterprise going on. We'll see everyone at the next race. Take care.
See you all next seed.